I'm Tarun Dave, and today I'm going to take you to the virtual journey of cloud computing. So we'll try to cover what is cloud computing, the buzz around the cloud computing, what are the delivery models of the cloud computing, uh, and after that we'll try to take brief about what is Amazon Web Services, which is one of the leading cloud provider in the world right now. And we'll also try to see a demo about Amazon Web Services. So how can you use the Amazon Web Services? At the end of the session, I'll also tell you what are we going to cover in the 6 modules which we are planning to take, and what you can expect from the course. So I'll start my journey. Before that, if you have any questions, you can keep on putting in the chat window, and at a logical break or in between, I'll keep on taking the questions, and then I'll keep on answering also. I hope you will enjoy the journey. So let's start our virtual journey to the cloud computing. So before I start, just that the people are there, everybody would say that what is cloud computing, and I should use the cloud computing. Now, even in the buzzwords, if anybody says I have a huge number of files, what should I do that? And people always say, why don't you store in the cloud? What is a cloud here? It's a rocket science. It's something different. What is the cloud actually? And because it's a buzzword these days, if you go anywhere, like the Irish Times, the former CEO of the Sun Microsystems, everybody is saying the similar thing, that we are moving from the ice age to iron age to industrial age, information age, and now this is a participating civilization age, where you will be participating over the internet, not just for viewing the stuff, but what more collaborations, more infrastructure available to you. You can do many more things which you were not able to do previously, and that has enabled, or that was enabled only because of the cloud computing. So cloud computing is definitely a buzzword, even if you might have heard that. Obama won the election because of cloud computing. Again, not only because of the cloud computing, but that was a key factor because it used the Amazon Web Services quite effectively to channelize the voters who believe in Obama. So he tried to run some of the applications in the Amazon Web Services, and using the Amazon power, he channelized all the voters who are not coming out to vote for him, though they were favoring him. And that has resulted in a massive victory for Obama. So that is the power of the cloud computing. And if you go for Gartner also, the cloud computing is in a hype cycle. If you see the different expectations, different applications, everything in the cloud computing, the hype cycle of the cloud. Though Gartner as well as everybody believes cloud is not exactly mature yet. It will take a few years. Something would take sometimes for 2 years, something would take for 2 to 5 years, some of things. But for the times of 4 to 5 years, you will see a very mature cloud. And that time you will see the real benefit or real power of the cloud computing also. And that is the reason, if you see that one of the recent Forrester reports says that cloud computing market will rise from 40 billion this year to more than 240 billion. Yes, 241 billions. And that is, I would say, almost as much revenue of Apple, and much more than you can say, any of the Indian industries. So with a year-to-year growth of over 20%. So estimates tremendous growth in SaaS. SaaS is one of the cloud computing model, which we will cover in the session today. But that is what they are expecting over. And how do they say the market growth? So in the year 2011, the public cloud covers right now almost 25 billions, while the virtual private cloud, again, public cloud, virtual private cloud, or private cloud, I'll covering in my session in little different detail. So, but just going on a scenario where private would be more within your organization, where public something on internet, and you see the current little less amount on the public cloud, or less movement on the public cloud would be measure of the security worry. But in the 2020, I see a lot of maturity in the cloud, more secure environment in the cloud, and that is why you see from 25 billion to jumping to 116 billions, almost 6 times. While from the private cloud, it would be just doubling up. And the reason would be people want to save the money, people want to be cost effective, and at the same time, they want to get or garner the power of the cloud computing. So what is the real cloud computing means? We have hearing a lot of a buzzword across the world that the cloud computing is this and this. So if you go and ask, it's the same story as an elephant and the few blind men. I'm sure you might have heard that story. So whenever you go, and then if blind man touches the trunk or it touches the tail, it will have a different kind of assumption for cloud computing. And that's a similar concept. If you ask somebody using Dropbox, they'll say the cloud computing is a storage. If you ask somebody using Gmail, they say cloud computing is an email. If you ask using somebody on Amazon, they say cloud computing is a infrastructure. So it's all different concept for everyone. But that's not the thing. There is a whole huge elephant which is sitting over there, and the elephant is not sitting idle, it is rocking. So we need to know what is exactly this elephant means. So according to Forrester, The cloud computing is a form of standardized IT-based capability such as internet-based services, software, or IT infrastructure offered by a service provider that is accessible via internet protocols from any computer and is always available and scales automatically to adjust to demand, is either pay per use or advertising based. So if I make it a little more simpler way, or which you can understand in a much better way, something which is a business service which is offered to you on a pay-as-you-go model, which would be available to you as you want. It's a scalable and it's a metered kind of a service. Now, what does it exactly mean? So does it mean all the web application across the world are cloud, or any web or any application I'm using is a cloud? No, that is not the case. So National Institute of Standard and Technology has decided certain attributes for the cloud computing. And yes. So National Institute of Standard and Technology has defined certain attributes for the cloud computing. And if you follow these attributes, it would make a real cloud computing scenario. So these are the 5 key attributes of cloud computing. And to make anything or enable your cloud computing, this is very important. The first one is a broad network access. So which means that it's available everywhere across the world. So you can access from the internet. It's ubiquitous network presence. So you can access from anywhere in the world. And that is one of the key factors. Now, there would be a case where it's something special, like only for your organization, where you can access from the internet across the organization. So broad network access is pretty important for that. It should not be a desktop-based application and only you can use that. So that is very important aspect. Second and very important aspect is a rapid elasticity, and that is what separates cloud computing. Cloud should be scalable, or it should be elastic. Whenever you need it, it should be able to scale up as per your requirement. And that's the key power of cloud computing, or the key power why people are moving to the cloud computing. It should be a measured service. And what do you mean by measured service? Because cloud computing should be a pay-as-you-go model. So whatever amount you are using, it will be charging you only for that amount. It can be hourly basis or number of users basis or the storage basis. Based on different metrics or parameters, it would be charging you back. But yeah, it should be measuring your service so it can charge you back. So that is another aspect of the cloud computing. It should be a measured service and charge you on a pay-as-you-go model. It should be on demand. So I take an example. Normally, when we want to procure an infrastructure like a server or a hardware something, how much time do we normally take? If you just go and in the market, you will be right now searching on the internet or going to the different shops, the Chroma and the different shops, Reliance Digital and everywhere. You try to find what is the best suitable infrastructure available or meeting your requirements. Then, or if you're an organization, you would ask the people to provide you the quotations. Then you will try to compare the quotes, and then you'll place the order. Then you will get it. It may take 4 days, 8 days, or something more. Cloud computing is available on demand. So whenever you need it, it is immediately available to you. And that would be something within 2 minutes, 5 minutes kind of a scenario. So if you go to Amazon, which even I will cover in my demo, and you request for a server, it will be available to you in 5 minutes. So you don't need to go to any shop or purchase something. It's available to you. And another advantage of cloud computing is a resource pooling. The resource pooling is a little complex but very important aspect of the cloud computing. The resource pooling means it should be able to pool for multiple resources. Now, what do you mean by resources? It's same as a concept called a tenant. It should be a multi-tenant scenario. Now, what is a tenant and what is a user? So a tenant can be a multiple companies. So I take the example of the leading 3 companies or the leading 3 banks of the India. That it could be SBI, HDFC, and ICICI. Now they want to procure a cloud. Again, going for a banking cloud and everything is a different scenario. But just taking an example, they want to procure a cloud. So they would go to the Amazon and say, I am taking your service. In that scenario, the ICICI or the HDFC or SBI would be working as a tenant, and all the users or all the employees of SBI or ICICI who are going to use the Amazon, they would be becoming the end users. So tenant is like the pool of the group users, which would make the more cost effective or resource optimization part. And the cloud should be doing a multi-tenancy. So whenever it's offering something, it should be able to offer to a multiple tenants. It's not about only the users. You can go to any website and register over there. But tenants means if I go and I want, like an SBI goes and says, I want an application which would have a my logo, which would have my content, which would have showing something with welcome screen as a differently, while as a ICICI would like, okay, I need the login page as a differently because my users don't want to feel that I am taking from your service. So this is the kind of a scenario where, as per the tenant, you would be able to configure your requirement and provide the offering. So that's why it's called a resource pooling. So cloud should be able to do the resource pooling. And these are the very important 5 key attributes of the cloud computing. So not everything makes a cloud computing. It has to follow these 5 attributes. Again, for some of the clouds it may, mostly it would say, I would say 4 are the very important. One, it could be here or there, but these are the very important aspects and which would enable you to make a real cloud computing. Now going for this aspect, now cloud also have a delivery models or service models. Also, there are 3 major delivery models defined by the NIST. One is a software as a service model, another is a platform as a service model, third is an infrastructure as a service model. Now what do you mean by here, the software or platform or something? If you remember, I talk about that cloud is something, a business service is offered to you on a pay-as-you-go model. Now in that aspect, anything which is coming here, so software as a service model, something, a software is offered to you as a pay-as-you-go model. Take an example of Gmail. Gmail is one of the largest email service provider. Now as an end user, when we are using Gmail, we know that we just go to Gmail and register and we start using Gmail. So that's an end user facing application. Then how do you say it's a resource pooling and it's doing all the cloud concepts? It's a broad network access, it's available everywhere. It's a rapid elasticity. You never know, there would be millions users today, there would be billions users tomorrow, and still Gmail is able to serve them. It's a measured service. Now measured service, I'll coming to the next point, but on demand. So whenever you need, Gmail is available to you. Resource pooling. How does the Gmail do the resource pooling or multi-tenancy here? See, the Gmail VC is like an end user kind of a thing. That's a kind of, we are as an end tenants where it's individual users. But Gmail has its own offering where it serves for the users which are across the world. So like in different organizations, I know a few organizations or a few institutes. Take an example of the Education Institute of 3 IITs. They want to set up their email service. In the email service, where it would be like one IIT Mumbai would go and say that, okay, Gmail, I want to use your email service, but it should have my logo, it should have my login page kind of a thing, while the IIT Kanpur would go and say that it should have my kind of information, or IIT Delhi would have their login page. So Gmail provides that kind of a service. So at the front end, when the IIT Delhi or IIT Kanpur or IIT Mumbai people are using, it would be just feeling that, okay, we are accessing the application of the IIT Mumbai only, but at the backend side, the complete email application or complete email infrastructure and service is provided by Gmail, which you will never come to know. And Gmail is doing a huge thing in that. So there are, you can, multiple users, multiple organization can buy the service from the Gmail, and the advantage would be you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to create your email service over there. Now in that aspect, somebody just asked me, what is a single tenant? Again, I meant here single tenant would be, there is a, in Gmail, we are considered as a single tenant, like an individual users. It's like a group of people who are working as a independently for that. We are not as a part of some organization. But as a tenant, it would be something like a group of people. So it can be a one tenant, it can be a multi-tenant. But single tenant would be a one tenant who is has a multiple group of people and who is taking the service out of that. Again, rapid elasticity is, again, somebody is asking me about that. So rapid elasticity is the same thing where it should be able to grow as when you require. So I'll just cite another example. When the Osama was killed, I'll take the example of CNN website. Normally CNN might be, again, that's all the numbers are hypothetical. The CNN might be happening or see that every day we have 10,000 users visiting my site. So that's a random number coming from my brain also. So every day 10,000 people coming and visiting CNN sign. Now Obama announced that America has killed Osama. Now suddenly everybody in America is curious. They wanted to know what happened, and the best source for them would be they're going to the CNN website. Now suddenly there is a huge load on the CNN website. Now suddenly out of 10,000 there would be 10 million people who are trying to access CNN website. Now how would you measure that? So CNN is able to serve the 10,000 people. They might have provisioned that, okay, out of 10,000 I would be able to provision the 20 or 30,000 people, but going to 10 million users, how can you do that? And that's where if CNN gone with the cloud provides an option that automatically you can scale up the resources. So when you need, you can add multiple virtual servers in horizontal. So horizontal scaling, like you are adding more servers in parallel. So your whole load will be distributed. So one server which is catering to 10,000 servers, you can add something 100 more servers like that within no time. So your load would be completely distributed and it can serve your requirement. And that is what the elasticity would be. Again, elasticity and scalability would sometimes go hand in hand, and sometimes it would go a little less. What I explain is the classic example of scalability, but scalability does not work without elasticity. Elasticity would be more like where you are using the resources optimally, and then you use the scalability to scale up your resources. So that's how the rapid elasticity and scalability will work for you. Now going for another model from software as a service, where you get some software as a business service model. In platform as a service model, you will get some platform as a service model. Now what do you mean by the platform here? A platform would be something which is offered to you to develop your applications. So it would be like some APIs, some integration, some interfaces are available. So you don't need to start from the scratch. You are already having some infrastructure already provided to you, some APIs are already read. So you can just start using. Example would be, you have a database already available for you. You can just start integrating with that. So you don't need to set up a database. Or you have a mobile APIs available. So you don't need to write a new APIs. You can directly start setting the SMS using the mobile APIs. So platform as a service model, which will provide a platform to build your application, which will be that's offered as a pay-as-you-go model. The classic example is a Google App Engine, where in Google App Engine it provides a platform where you can integrate the Google Gmail, the Google mobile services, the Google the chat service, Google Plus, everything you can integrate with using the APIs. Plus you can host your application also on the Google, and as well as you can use the database, which is a huge NoSQL database offered by the Google. You can use that also. So that's a concept of a platform as a service model, where a platform is offered to you. In infrastructure as a service model, infrastructure is offered to you as a service. Where infrastructure means it could be a virtual resources like virtual desktop, virtual server, virtual memory, virtual compute power, something available to you. You can use it, and it's a massively scalable. Again, whenever you need, it's available to you. So you can store your resources over there. You can just start using them for a multiple resources at a time. You can use it for desktop as a virtual server. You can host your application over there. The network is a high bandwidth network is also available to you, and the storage, again, a huge storage or unlimited storage is available to you. So these are the three major service models of the cloud computing. Again, there is a term which is very often in the market, so I just thought to highlight on that. That's called anything as a service model. Sometimes not only out of three, which would be kind of a component of three, like a database as a service model, management as a service model, assurance as a service model. So those are also coming up in the market. So in the future, you may come up these kind of a terms. So I just thought I'll introduce you with the concept called anything as a service also. Now, how do you deploy all this in the cloud? So for that, cloud has a four kind of a deployment models. In that, one is a public cloud, where something is available over the internet. You can access from the internet. In the private cloud, it would be more like something which is particular to your organization only. I'll covering all this in little detail, so I'm just going a brief about it. In hybrid cloud would be more like a combination of public and private, or public and community kind of a scenario. While in the community cloud, it would be more like a like-minded companies coming together and making their own cloud. So a classic example I was just giving before is the case of SBI, ICICI, and HDFC. When those three banks come together and they make their own cloud, which is used by those three organizations only, that's like a community is coming together and making their own cloud. So it's not particular to a company, but it's particular to a group or like-minded people. So that's a community cloud. Before I move on, I guess I have got a few questions. I'll just try to see. Can we have a class recording for us? I'm sure it would be, and edureka could definitely help you on that aspect. One example is what is the difference between hybrid and community? Definitely, I'll come to that slide and I'll show you more about that. What is the difference between the cloud and Azure? Azure itself is a cloud offering. Azure was initially a platform as a service model. Now it's more going towards the infrastructure as a service model, but Azure is a cloud offering. Yes, I can. Some other question is, why do you say private cloud is a single tenant? It is a single tenant because it is used by only one organization. So normally private cloud is for the one organization only. It's not shared across the multiple people. And within one organization, it would be used by the multiple users. So that's why it is there. Oracle on cloud can be an example of PaaS. Yes, Amazon do provide again on that. Oracle on cloud is there, but Amazon also provides a RDS kind of scenario. I'll show again in my slides, where it's called the relational data service, where Oracle database is available. So database which is available, it's a managed service kind of something available to you. That is in a PaaS offering. So Oracle on a cloud is definitely, you can say, is a PaaS offering. AWS, again, a question is AWS IaaS or PaaS. AWS is definitely IaaS, but it has started a lot of PaaS offering in recent days. But its major focus was the infrastructure service. Now we are seeing a lot of offerings from the Amazon on a platform as a service model. Again, I guess I would take, this is the last question because we also need to keep on moving. So I'll take another logical break after some time. But last question is it feasible to go for a cloud computing after work experience? I'll try to cover that. That's a good question, definitely. It's always good to have some your programming knowledge or something about the cloud computing, because cloud is now something, not a new phenomenon. It was existing since long, but it's now given a better definition, better treatment, and now it's now becoming more and more mature. So if you have a knowledge about some kind of a programming language, some kind of a infrastructure services, that would definitely help you to go to the cloud computing. I'll take the more questions afterwards, so please pardon me for that part. I'll definitely try to answer most of the questions, so don't get disappointed. Now I'm coming to the cloud delivery models. So the cloud delivery models, I talk about that there are three major delivery models: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure service model. So I already explained that in software as a service models, the software or business software is offered to you as a service model. In platform, a platform like a database or an API, something available to you. In infrastructure, it's like a virtualization of desktop, internet, virtual, those things are available. Now, who are the normally end user for this kind of scenario? The consumer would be the SaaS kind of a scenario, would be an end user, like you, me, for the going for Gmail. In a platform as a service model, it would be more like an application owners. So they would be making some kind of an application on top of the platform. So they will be creating their own SaaS. If I want to make my SaaS, I can definitely use PaaS. So I can create SaaS using PaaS because it will have a scalability and all those aspects, and it would be easier or fast to develop. While in the AWS, it would be again same as the application owner who wants to host their application on AWS, but again it would be for your storage service and all that also option. That consumer would be them. And then the coverage part would be that there would be different kind of a coverage also. It's how much it's application uptime. So they are covered through the SLA. So whenever you're going for some SaaS provider or PaaS provider, you can always go and meet them. They will say whether it's a per user basis, what are the SLAs, what would be my uptime, how much is my application coverage, what would be my environment performance, everything they would be providing the over there. A few examples would be the CRMs, emails on the SaaS part. So a public SaaS providers, the CRM, Salesforce.com, in the emails, Outlook, as well as Gmail. In a collaboration, what would you can see the GoToMeeting, WebEx, that is there. In the ERP also, that's again coming from the Salesforce, and there are Oracle also coming with its own ERP offering. I'm not sure exactly about the name, but I know they are also coming up to cloud offering on the ERP. On the PaaS side also, there would be application development. So we have a Force.com, we have a Google App Engine. Those are the cases where they provide the PaaS offering. In infrastructure as a service model, the classic examples are Amazon Web Services. Terramark is one of them, which is now, not now, almost 6 months back, it is procured by the Verizon. Then there is a GoGrid, there is a Rackspace. In India, it's a Tata Communications. Those are the infrastructure as a service providers. Going to a cloud deployment models, and I'm sure after this I'll take a few questions after a couple of slides. So cloud deployments, public cloud, something which is available over the internet, which you can access from the internet across the world. So when you have internet access, you can access it, and that is why it's called a public cloud. It's a publicly available, and it's again a pay-as-you-go model. So multi-tenant application. So it would be, since it's available publicly, there will be multiple people or multiple tenants using it. And the major difference for the public cloud would be, go with the Amazon case or the Rackspace and all that. They have the unlimited resources, virtually unlimited. So you can go as much as you want. Even they say that with Amazon, you can make a supercomputer within 30 minutes. They provide that kind of a scenario also. So you can get the processing power of a supercomputer with some of the Amazon offering, and it would take some time, more time to build up because it's a cluster and all that kind of setup. But you can do that kind of a thing also. In a private cloud, it's a finite infrastructure and services. It's for your organization only. It's available to you only for your organization. It's normally enterprise owner based, and then the chargeback has to be configured. Now, as we told about that, cloud is a pay-as-you-go model. So how do you charge back to the line of business or the users? That is somebody has to figure out. Then you also have to plan out the management. How do you do administration? How do you manage your private cloud option also? And the hybrid cloud is a composition of a public and private cloud. So sometimes public cloud is very scalable, massively scalable, I say that. But at the same time, you may not like public cloud because it's not so much secure. Sometimes you may worry because it's not available to you. Anybody can hack it. So the public cloud is not so secure. If something is which is your organization, you have complete control over it, and that's why it's a private cloud, so it's more secure. But you want the high scalability of the public cloud and you want the security of private cloud, you can go for a hybrid cloud where you would be tunneling public and private using some SSN channel or something, and then you would be hosting your application something on the public cloud, but data which is more secure requirement would be hosted on your private cloud, and then data communication or the collaboration would be through that secure tunnel. So that makes a hybrid cloud. Coming to a scenario, somebody also asked me that what is the difference between hybrid cloud and community cloud? Community cloud is more like a private cloud, but it's where multiple private organizations come together and make their own cloud. So it doesn't become a public, but I said example of the SBI or SCS or HDFC, they don't want to go with the public cloud. Reason is security. So they can form a joint venture where they will be creating their own data center, which would be used by those 3 banks only. So that is called a community cloud, where it's for like-minded or the company with the same goal or orientation come together and make their own cloud. So that's what they call a community cloud. And a community cloud with the public cloud can also be a hybrid cloud. So you can always there, public and private can also make a hybrid cloud. So those are the different scenarios for that. And this is the example over there. So in a hybrid cloud, if you see here, we have a public or something cloud also available, as well as your on-premise or internal cloud also. And they both would be connected through a secure tunnel. So there would be some secure channel established between two, and then data would be flown between that using some encryption and all that mechanism. The GoGrid does provide the hybrid cloud. So is the Amazon VPC. Amazon VPC, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, which is also offering the hybrid cloud offering. So before I go to the key characteristics of the cloud, I'll just try to cover a few more questions. How do we create superpower computers using Amazon Web Services? I mean, is that thing also covered in the course? No, that would be definitely a little advanced course, because it's a supercomputer you are making, right? So our course covers more about the basic about cloud computing, basic about the Amazon Web Services, how do you use the Amazon Web Services. But once you get very good hands on the Amazon Web Services, I'm sure you can make that a supercomputer kind of thing very easily. It does not stop you, because it's ultimately using the Amazon Web Services, but the server size, which would be normally you are using a 64 GB RAM, instead you might be using 256 GB RAM, and then you would be cluster computing the units, so that you can always use it. What is the cloud computing and why we need it? I think I already covered what is the cloud computing in my definition. So something which is offered you as a business service and a pay-as-you-go model. And why we need it, I'll try to cover what are the ideal case or test cases or case scenario for that. Is it good to go for cloud before graduation? Yes, cloud computing knowing is always a good option. I don't deny that. So cloud computing is a very good option. And if you know, like you attend this course and you know the Amazon Web Services, so after your graduation, you can always have some more concepts which you can host on Amazon. So it doesn't mean that after your graduation, you are going to work somewhere. If you're going to work somewhere, you can use your experience or your knowledge about the Amazon Web Services somewhere else, and to your wherever you're going to work. And if you are not doing some job, but you are making your own ideas, your concepts, you can use cloud computing to host your ideas, and then you can make a scalable. So that would be the ideal scenario for using that. So there is no age where you should not go for the cloud computing. What is the basics of cloud? Again, the 5 attributes I defined before in my slides. Those are the 5 basic attributes of the cloud you need to know. Somebody says, I don't know ABC of the cloud, and that's why I'm here to help you out. I'm sure after this session, you know what is cloud computing, what is Amazon Web Services. I'm sure you'll get some overview about that. And after that also, you have any doubts, you can always reach out to edureka, and we will be able to help you on that. What is the prerequisite understanding for completing this course? We would need you should have some basic knowledge about any programming logic. That would help you. Again, doesn't mean that you should be thorough or the champion on that. because we'll try to go with the basic to the advanced level. So we'll cover all the aspects over here. But knowing any programming language would always be a plus part. If you don't know, we'll definitely help you on that. Plus, Edureka do have a lot of course also in offering. You can try for that also. In private cloud, AWS will be locally to company. So is it same as a local infrastructure? No, it does not mean the local same as a local infrastructure, because in cloud you have to, as I said, a few of the attributes you need to know. So you should be virtualized. It should be available to multiple users. When you need, it's available to you. It should be scalable. There should be kind of a meter service. So how would you charge back to the line of users? Optimal resource utilization. So if it's able to serve those kind of attributes, definitely it's a cloud computing. But otherwise, normal you are hosting the server does not make a cloud. You need to go for those 5 attributes which are the key for making any cloud computing. Next question is it good to go for cloud before graduation? Again, I guess I have already covered this. So what offerings of AWS are covered? I think I have covered in my last slides as well as in between what offerings are covered. So I'll keep spark the question for some time. Next question is it good to go for cloud before graduation? I think I'm getting this question repeatedly. So Rachit Jain, just be a little calm. I've already answered on this. So you can always go for the cloud computing course. For whom this cloud computing is useful as a career? The cloud computing is useful for, I would say, everyone. If you are a programmer, you should know the cloud computing, how to harness the power of cloud computing. If you are in an infrastructure service, you should know how can you make the cloud computing. If you are in some other world, you can know how can I use the cloud to make myself available so I can port some idea on the cloud computing. So cloud computing is useful for everyone. If you are just thinking about a career, I'm sure it would be on some IT side, it would be very much helpful, but I don't see there would be any stopping for any domain over there. What is the need for decryption? I don't see any reason that what is the need for decryption? If you encrypted, then you would be decrypting. I'm not sure what is the exact question here would be. Is there a separate course for cloud computing for Java developers? I think Edureka would be able to answer more, but yeah, we try to cover on a more about the cloud computing technology here, where we would be covering where Amazon Cloud or Azure Cloud or something. Even we'll help you to how can you architect with the cloud, and that would be common for everyone. So whether you are a Java programmer or you are a .NET programmer, it would be definitely help you. And Amazon do have an offering for the Java, .NET, PHP, Ruby. It has a Python. It is an offering for everyone. Software development kits are available for everyone, so you can use that. Next question, are cloud computing service running on clusters? That's a very generic question, I would say. It's normally hosted on data centers, but yes, they do use the clusters, they use some racks, they use their own, it's a majorly infrastructure is the key part of that. And then on top of that infrastructure, you would be virtualizing over there. How efficient is data governance on cloud by leading providers? Data governance is definitely efficient. So you can take the backup, the storage, archival. That is very important, and all the cloud providers do understand that aspect, so they do that part. I think I'll take little now break because we are giving a multiple number of questions, and I guess we will then skip our major objective over here. So I'll park over here again. I'll go further, and then we'll take more questions. But I assure you, if your questions are unanswered, you can always mail us, and as a Edureka V team, we will always get back to you with your questions. So the key characteristics of the cloud computing, what are the key characteristics? The agility or flexibility, that is one of the key characteristics. It's, as I said, it's available on demand. So whenever you need cloud computing, it is available to you. So you can always scale up more resources. You can scale down when you don't need it. So and then it helps you to save the cost because it's a pay-as-you-go model. So it's a very cheaper. So only use it when you need it. And this classic example of the CNN site I was telling you. Now consider the case where they were having a 10,000 hits every day. Suddenly they have a 10 million hits in a day. Now what would they have done? They might have anticipated from the day one, since when the Obama came into power, that he will kill Osama one day, and we would have some hit our servers, and then it might crash. So let's procure a huge infrastructure from the day one, and we'll keep on serving. Though it's only 10,000 people are using, we don't mind. We'll keep on using. No, that's not the ideal scenario because it would waste a lot of money. It would be not only the investment of your infrastructure, but your power, real estate, everything would come in a picture. Instead, if you go for a cloud, so whenever you need additional resources, just launch more resources. So cloud, like Amazon and every cloud providers provide you that offering. So you can, instead of 100 virtual machines, you can now, or virtual servers, you can have 1,000 virtual servers. So your load would be 10 times more. If you want more, you can go to 10,000. And Amazon does provide that kind of offering, so it will serve your purpose. It's a device and location independence. It's a ubiquitous access. You can access from anywhere in the world. So you can access from your mobile devices, your laptops, or your tablets, or you can access from your desktop servers. Uh, Anywhere you can access it. So that's a device and location independence. It's a multi-tenant. So multi-tenant would be making you more resource optimized. Take an example. You have a 20 GB RAM server. Now only you are hosted one application which is used by the only using only 2 GB. Now you virtualize that service and you created 10 virtual servers out of that. Each server is using 2 GB each. Now you sell that thing to 10 different vendors or 10 tenants. So you have optimized your resources and your resources are optimally used, and you know that not all tenants are going to use at a time. So I can always have some flexibility available. So if one user is using in the morning, another is using in the night, it's America and India daytime difference. So out of the optimized cost, optimized resource cost optimization, and I'll save some money as well as my resource optimization. It's a more reliable. Again, the people would debate on that aspect, but the reason it's reliable would be the cloud providers like Amazon, and they do take care of each and every aspect. They ensure that it's a more reliable, and for that they provide the SLAs also. So Amazon provides for the virtual server like 99.95 kind of SLAs. And again, the more aspect is scalability. Scalability is the major thing. It's a massively scalable thing, Amazon. So whenever you need, it's available to you. It can scale up as much as you want. And that's why it's a very important aspect for you. Now somebody was asking, why do I need a cloud computing? So these are the typical case of the cloud computing. So one of the cases is infrastructure transformation. You have a huge IT infrastructure available. Now you know that a new infrastructure is coming every day in the market. So your existing infrastructure might be getting old. It might be becoming obsolete. So instead of procuring new infrastructure every time, you can go to the cloud. So migrate or transform whole your infrastructure to cloud. Now you don't need to worry. The cloud provider would take care of the infrastructure upgradation and everything, and you will save a lot of cost here. Email, CRM, those are the ideal scenarios. So you can use the Gmail and Outlook and all that kind of scenario. Office 365 is also one of the ideal SaaS scenario where you get the all Office tools available to you on a pay-as-you-go model. Again, development and assurance. Take an example. You need a production server which would need 64 GB RAM and which would be having around 10,000 concurrent hits. Now, how do you measure that, and how do you simulate the similar environment while testing? Either you procure the similar 64 GB environment and then you test on that, but that would be costing a whopping amount of money. You can save by just moving to the cloud and just doing your development and assurance on the cloud part with the 64 GB. So if you're going to use for just 30 days or 20 days, you will be paying money only for those 20 or 30 days, and you'll be able to save some money. The hosting application is an ideal scenario. You can host any kind of application on cloud. The content delivery is you can serve your media content, static files, your video files, everything over there much faster. And Amazon is offering for CloudFront all there. So there are different kind of offering available in the world that's called the content delivery. So you can serve your media video very faster using the cloud. High performance computing, that's so the super computing power I was saying. And again, that's a high performance. You can get a multiple clusters and then you can get part of that. Demo, proof of concept, where you want to have created some concept and you want to show to the market, but now you don't want to host somewhere because that would require your procuring dedicated infrastructure. Instead, you can go to the cloud and you can do a demo whenever required. So you start the cloud, you show the demo, and then you stop the cloud. So you will be paying only time you are using it. Backup is another instance where you store your on-premise data to the cloud because it will be providing more reliability. Disaster recovery and high availability, that's one of the very good case for the cloud coming up these days. So you would be having your infrastructure running in your premise, but you will always have a disaster running in a cloud. So if something happens to your local site, it would be always fall back to the cloud. So you will be able to serve your end users using your disaster recovery site. As well as cloud enables you to serve from the high availability. I'll show you the example of Amazon, how it achieves the high availability, so I'm not going here. Hybrid and private clouds are also one of the cases which we also talked about in the previously. Now, cloud computing concerns. I'll cover these concerns again, and then I'll come back to your questions. I'll take a few questions again. So, people, what are the cloud computing concerns? Yeah, the people say that we can't go to cloud, as rain can affect the cloud computing. Again, that's on a lighter note. But yeah, people do have a concerns about the cloud computing. And the major concerns are, again, this is not all the concerns, these are the major concerns. There would be a exhaustive list available across the world, and you can Google and you'll find a lot of things. A few of the major concerns would be the loss of control. In cloud, you do not own something. It is hosted or it is being managed by the cloud provider. So that you always worry. Example would be Gmail. Now, Gmail, you might be seeing recently, they have started 3 tabs. One would be your normal mails, one would be your social mail tab, and another would be your the advertisement tab kind of a thing, where it would be directly segregating your mail. So all advertising mail or the publicity mails would be going to those advertising sections. The Facebook, Twitter, those kind of mails going to the social networking tab, and all other mails are coming to your regular private mail kind of a tab. It's a very good scenario. It's a very useful for me. Now, why do I worry for that? This shows that Twitter is reading my mails. Sorry, not Twitter. Gmail is reading my mails. It is interpreting my mails, and based on that, it is diverting to the different options. And that's a worrisome. You might have heard word called the prism recently. That's a buzzword across again in the world, because the USA was using the prism. That's a code word they had given, and the NSA was using it to get the information across the world. Since the USA was holding most of the internet traffic, so anything which was diverted through, they were using that, they were interpreting that, and then they were feeding out all the important information. So you are losing the control, because something you do not own, you always worry about that. Integration part. Now you want to integrate with your legacy integrations applications. How do you integrate with? That would always be a worry for them. Interoperability is always a little worry, because if you are in a one cloud, you cannot move to the another cloud very easily. So if you are on Amazon, you cannot go to the Azure quite easily. You need to do quite a few changes, or you might have to start from the scratch. Accessibility and UI limitation of web applications, because it's something available on web applications. They may have a JavaScript limitations, they may have browser limitations, who is using, from where they are using, those kind of things can always come up. Reliability and performance. Your cloud is as fast as your internet. So you have to understand that. So currently you are using a 15 kbps dial-up network of 3 kbps line, and you say that cloud computing is not fast because your internet is not fast. The cloud computing would be as fast. So in that scenario, you may not like to use your hosted application on cloud computing because your internet is not fast. In that scenario, it would be ideal you use in-house application and access from that. The security is always a worry, because the people do worry, because something is available in a public domain. People can hack that, and that would be a problem. There would be a features changes, vendor locking. That's a vendor locking thing. Same thing. It's interoperability. You cannot move it. How do you add additional features? Now, normally, as I said, the multi-tenant would like to have their own features, but the cloud providers like Amazon would not say, no, I cannot give you all the features. This is what I'm offering. If you want, take it or forget it. Same way, if you want to change something, you can't change it. Amazon would say, this is my offering. If you like it, take it, or don't take it. So that's a concern for the cloud computing. And so there are the security issues. For the security, there is a Cloud Security Alliance. It's the open source team, they have a community they are building up. It's called cloudsecurityalliance.org. You can always read. They have listed the 7 major threats on the cloud computing. So you can always Google on this PDF. It's a very good PDF. It depicts what are the 7 major security issues in the cloud computing. How can you avenge that, or how can you prevent them, and what are the things you need to do for that. So just Google for the 7 security threats or Cloud Security Alliance, or 7 security threats, or you can refer to the URL which I have already shown you. So those are the 7. I'll just go a little fast over here. That's abuse and nefarious use of cloud computing. Somebody is using cloud computing which is not intended for. So somebody would just use it for the spying, or for malware attack and kind of a thing, where they can garner the massive power of the infrastructure of cloud computing to attack the multiple sites, and that can bring you down. The insecure interface. So if you have to trust whatever the cloud company provider gives you APIs, you have to trust it. So if it's a not known cloud provider, you can always worry if their APIs are not tested, it's insecure, it can leak your code. And malicious insider is like something your insider, so whoever is the cloud provider, their inside people is leaked, and he's not able to, he leaks some information. And then there is a shared technology issue. So whatever technology you are sharing that, so there would be people who are sharing the same technology, whether it's a right technology. If there are multiple people are using it, if the one word induces the malware or something kind of a virus, can it affect my technology also? Then there is a data loss. So if your cloud computing goes down, and don't laugh, it has happened in the past. The Twitter was down once on the 31st December for the happen in your time, as well as Amazon had 3 outages in last 3 years. Those were major outages. So if it's a down, what would happen to that? And account or service hijacking, it's available on internet. So somebody hacks your account, what would happen to that? And unknown risk profile, so you don't know what is there. There would be some risk which you are not aware about, and people can say that some kind of virus, some kind of attacks can always come on that. So those are the 7 major security issues on the cloud computing. A summary about the cloud computing before I go to the Amazon. After this slide, I'll definitely take the questions on this. So what is the advantage of the cloud computing? It's a cheaper, definitely it's a cheaper, cost effective. That's majorly for public cloud. So public cloud is always a cheaper. It's a scalable. You can scale as much as you want. It's a unlimited, infinitely unlimited resources available to you. It's a very small startup cost because it covers all your capital expense to operational expense. So you don't need to invest on infrastructure at the time. It's available on demand. So whenever you need it, it's available to you. The minus part would be sometimes it's a hardware failure. How would you cope up with that? Cloud is not yet mature. That's a truth everybody has to accept. But I'm not saying it's bad. It's not at all, but it's a very good, because if you go to Amazon and you make your own application, Amazon has experts available across the world. They are paying for that, and they ensure that they have the right security mechanism available, so it will not be harming on that. Now, as an end user, I am using Amazon and I do some goof ups. So what happened? So that would be my fault, not Amazon's fault. And that has happened. The people would open some kind of a firewalls in Amazon, which would cause their instance or virtual machine to harm. That's not Amazon's fault. But Amazon do provide all kind of a technology. But at the same time, they are maturing more and more. So I would believe by 2014-15, it will be much more mature than what it is. So that's why we predicted, not me, it's Forrester and the Gartner all predicted, by 2020, you would see a massive scale in the public cloud. It's a lock-in, vendor lock-in. You cannot move from one vendor to another. And security is always a worry, because you don't control something over here. So this is the cloud computing. Now I'll be covering Amazon Web Services. I'll take a few questions by the time. Who are the key competitors of the Amazon Web Services? So in the world, Amazon is the leading web service provider for the infrastructure service model. Azure was one of the major competitors for Amazon, but their major focus was platform as a service model. But now Azure has started giving the infrastructure service offering also, and they are also one of the leading competitor for the Amazon. So is the Google. Google is also one of the major platform as a service model, but they also started their infrastructure offering almost 3 months back. In the infrastructure service model, one of the key competitors of the Amazon are Rackspace, GoGrid, as well as the Terramark, which is now by the Verizon. Now, Amazon Web Services. We'll try to cover what is Amazon Web Services, overview of the Amazon products, and the demo at the end. So Amazon.com, you might have used that, or you might have seen that. It's one of the leading or rather largest retail service, online retail provider across the world right now. So you go to the Amazon.com and you can buy anything across the world. Even they have started in India also. Amazon.in has started now. So that's one of the largest service provider across the world on the retail business. They also have another business called seller business. So where you can sell your own items on the Amazon. So you are a small dealer. You want to sell your items or goods on Amazon. You can do that also. And Amazon provides that kind of facility. That's a seller business. The third business, which is now gaining a lot of traction in Amazon, is Amazon Web Services. It's an IT infrastructure business or infrastructure as a service model offered by the Amazon. It is a very popular in Amazon, and even Amazon.com is already hosted on Amazon Web Services. So those are the 3 major parts of the Amazon. Now, the performance part somebody said, or how do you scale up, or how do the cloud providers scale up? Those kind of questions coming well. I'll start that Amazon.com. I met one of the person from Amazon in one of the workshops, and I was interacting with them, and they said that in 2002, Amazon.com at that time also was one of the leading or the largest online retail service across the US or across the world, and that time they had some X amount of infrastructure. Now from 2002 to 2013, they have grown a lot. So they might have 1 million users that time. This might be 500 million users this time. But what they've done is, whatever the infrastructure was available to them in 2002, similar kind of infrastructure, Amazon Web Services is adding to their data center every day. Yes, I mean every day. So imagine if Amazon.com, to serve those thousands or millions of users, in 2002 they had some 1,000 servers. Today, again, 1,000 is a hypothetical number, so just don't quote me, but yeah, I'm just taking a number. Today, every day, they are adding those number of servers to their data centers. And that's the power of the why they are able to offer you massively scalable infrastructure. So not only you, there would be millions of people across the world using Amazon. So they never felt the performance because they have the huge data center available. And that's why they are able to serve that. Now, how do you start with the Amazon? And that's a very important aspect you need to know. So Amazon is a pay-as-you-go model. So it will charge you only for the service which you are using it. So when you start using it, it will charge you. So if you sign up with Amazon, it will not charge you. There is no sign-in amount, except it would cost you ₹1 or something just for a verification part. But apart from that, there is no cost for that. Now, how do you sign up with Amazon? Go to aws.amazon.com. Again, I repeat, aws.amazon.com. You can always create that sign up with Amazon, create and develop account, and Amazon will ask your credit card. So you need to provide a credit card. Without credit card, you can never sign up with Amazon, because at the end, Amazon needs a payment mechanism where they can charge you back. So when you use the Amazon service, they'll charge you. So they need a payment mechanism, and they go through only credit card. Debit card might be accepted, I'm not sure, but you can always try for that part. So enter your payment information. Now you sign up for the, once you registered, your authentication is done, everything is done, then Amazon has a number of products. You can sign up for the whatever products you want to sign up. So you don't use any products by mistake and you don't get charged for that. And to host an application, Amazon also provides some kind of a security mechanism where you can always use the private and public keys for that to use the Amazon, and then you can make your application and deploy on Amazon, and then you can always monitor or measure with Amazon and then scale up and all that part. So this is how you go with the Amazon, start with the Amazon. And if you join the course, you'll definitely learn, we will show you how you can register with the Amazon, where can you provide the information and everything, how to use, everything will be covered in the course. Now, what are the right scenarios of the cases for the Amazon use cases? Amazon is ideally suited for backup and archive. You can always store your backup. Whatever the data, you have a 3 GB of your media files, like your photos or something. Now your hard disk may crash. How do you take backup? Upload everything to Amazon. And once you upload, there is also option where you can archive it. Archive means like Amazon provides an archival service, which is too cheaper. So you can always archive it, which may not be available immediately, but when you need it, it's available. So you can always archive that. Then your application hosting, that's everybody's doing, media sharing, image, video. And the classic example again is Netflix. Netflix is world's largest online streaming video service. I'm not telling YouTube. YouTube is a free. On Netflix, you see the movies, the online streaming of movies service. And Netflix is hosted on Amazon. And Netflix is one of the biggest customer of Amazon. So is the case of Instagram, which was bought by Facebook. Instagram was hosted on Amazon. Now they have shifted to the Facebook data center, or still on Amazon. That's not been made public. The media distribution, again, your the video, image, all that you want to distribute in faster. The academic computing, or the computing the processing, what I said, the example of the supercomputer or the GCP kind of a scenario. That's exactly what you want to do. If you want to scale up, like you want to do a big data Hadoop kind of a scenario, you can cluster the units. So cluster computing, that is what you can do with that. And that's a very good scenario we have seen in Amazon also. That few people, there are the few research universities across the USA, they are using Amazon because they want around hundreds or thousands of servers to research something, to run some batch process, like a molecule diagnose or something, bacteria diagnose, something kind of that. Now they don't want to use their own infrastructure, they don't want to invest on that. They can host that for Amazon because that batch process would be running just 30 minutes. But only for 30 minutes that server would be available, and it would be too cheaper for them. Search engine is another example. The social networking is a very good example. The scalable application, that's the major case. If you have a scalable application requirement, you can always use it. And that's why Hito also provides the high availability. So you can also make your SaaS and PaaS using the Amazon. How does Amazon serve that? So somebody was asking, how can you make the highly available systems, and how can Amazon provide that over there? So this is the answer to that. Amazon has a concept called regions and zones. So region is a data center of Amazon. So Amazon has 8 major regions across the world. Out of that, 7 are the publicly made, and 1 is a government cloud, which is only available where you want to US government-based applications. You can use the US government cloud. Other 7 are available to you. Out of those 7, 3 are in USA, 1 in Europe, 2 in Asia, 1 in Australia, 1 in Mexico. So those are the different, you can see the yellow bar spot, those are the data centers. And this data center is same what I talk about, which is where they are adding thousands of servers every day. And now within a server, they provide high availability using availability zones. So availability zone is nothing but a physically separated area within a region. So within a region like they have a US East region that is in North Virginia. They will have a one data center, they will have a multiple availability zones. So in North Virginia, they have 5 availability zones available, A, B, C, D, E, which would be a physically separated. And the reason would be the physical separate would they might have a separate physical locations, or they might have a physical separate physical environment, physical security would be different. They may have even the electricity would be different. So if some disaster strikes and one electricity provider is not available, then it can suffer from the another availability zone. If the network, even the network would be different. So if one network provider goes down in one availability zone, it would be available from the another availability zone. So availability zone is a failback mechanism within one data center or one region. So that's how you can always achieve the high availability using regions and zones. So zones are very important. So in North Virginia, you have 5 availability zones. In US West, you have 3. US West 2, you have 3. The US government has 2. These are the scenarios. Again, if you see, for new customers in EC2, there in US, there are only 3 available for now. For the existing customer who are since long, almost since a few years, they can access all the 5 availability zones. So this is how the your availability, the high availability kind of things work. And then you can also make up the scenario with the disaster. So you can always have your application being served from 2 different regions. So that's being served from the 2 different continents or 2 different part of the geographies. Now, take an example. You have a service running from a US East US East, and then one service is running from the Europe West. Now, if your US West is down because tsunami or something, a hurricane or something has come, or electricity failure, you can always have a site running in the Europe, which is a fallback site. So you can always bring it up, and this is your disaster site. So you can always serve from that site. So this is how you can always disaster recovery also there. And we'll try to cover that also in our course. Now, a few Amazon cloud characteristics is like availability and reliability. Amazon is a highly available. That's how I was talking about the multiple zones. And it's a more reliable. You go to the Amazon SLS, Google for AWS SLS. They have a highly durable storage service. There is a highly available Amazon, the virtual server. Like they provide the SLA kind of a 99.95 kind of scenario. So it's a pretty reliable scenario. It's a scalable, massively scalable, so that it's a virtually infinite resource available to you. And the elasticity. So elasticity and scalability I have already talked about. Performance, you don't need to worry. You get the best of the class resources from the Amazon. So I take an example. I'm doing a lot of work with Amazon. If I'm downloading some application from my local machine, I'm having a 512 or 1 Mbps kind of scenario. It would be taking around 400 MB download. It may take 10 minutes, 30 minutes, something kind of scenario. In Amazon, it may be taking hardly 1 minute. They have more than the 10 Mbps kind of a lines, and then that serves the purpose. So it's a flexible. They provide a lot of programming languages also available. I was talking about you can do programming with the Amazon using the Java, .NET, PHP, Python, those kind of scenarios. They provide the APIs. There's a different kind of a access mechanism available also, how you can access different kind of security mechanism. So they are quite flexible with that. So they are not bound to only one programming language. So they do provide the SDKs for that. So you can develop your application using those SDKs. And they are pretty secure. So they have the US government cloud, they have the different kind of security mechanism. They have a lot of certification also for the ISO for the security part. So Amazon is definitely a secure option over there. Amazon services. Again, I'm not taking the questions immediately. Give me some time. After 2 slides, I'll definitely take your questions. So these are the major Amazon web services. I'll go a little quickly about that. These are the huge number, and we'll try to cover so many out of that. So in the storage part, we have the Amazon Simple Storage Services, which is like your FTP site where you can store all your objects over there. In Elastic Block Storage is for persistent storage board, like you want to host your database or something over there, you use the EBS. CloudFront is your content delivery where you can store your static files like videos, Gmage, and you can make the delivery content faster. The Glacier is an archival service, so it's a very cheaper storage service available to you. You can always archive all your storage. A storage gateway is an interface between your on-premise IT and the cloud storage. So you can always archive or take the backup of your in-premise IT to the Amazon using the storage gateways. The import export is where you have a huge or terabytes of data available and you want to move to the Amazon. You don't have a high-speed internet available. You can always use the import export service, which will help you to move the data. In this scenario, you physically ship your device like a CD drive, DVD, or hard disk to Amazon, and they will copy to the data you specify, location you specify. In the computer networking, that's EC2 is a very important. It's the Elastic Compute Cloud. It's like your virtual server available to you. Virtual private cloud allows you to create your virtual secure network, kind of a hybrid cloud scenario. Elastic load balancing for the scalability part, where it will be distributing your load across the virtual servers or across the EC2s. Auto scaling allows you to do the scalability part, so you can scale up more resources in parallel for horizontal scaling. Elastic MapReduce is a managed Hadoop framework from the Amazon, which allows you to do the Hadoop offering using the Amazon infrastructure. Direct Connect is where the dedicated network available from the across in the US and the Europe, and I think some parts in the Asia also, where there is a dedicated some internet service provider. They provide a direct link between the service provider to your organization and with your Amazon. So there would be a direct link. It would not be going anything on the internet. In the deployment and management part, cloud formation, which is like a cloud formation, which is a templated base. Like you can create a template and you can do over there. The Elastic Beanstalk is like you can platform as a service model from cloud, where it offers in a .NET, Java, PHP, where you can just create the application and scalability, load balancing, everything taken care by the Elastic Load Beanstalk. The data pipeline is more about the orchestration of data-driven flow. That is more about your it goes for the BI part. CloudWatch is for the monitoring of resources, very important. IAM, this is identification and access management, that is for secure AWS access control. OpsWork is for the development and operations, where it provides a chef puppet kind of a scenario, where it provides the complete management of your service. So it's kind of a DevOps scenarios. In the cloud HSM, it's more secure, where hardware-based key storage available over there. So for making a more secure, dedicated infrastructure available to you, that's to the hardware-based cloud HSM. Then in the database part, there is a DynamoDB. It's a NoSQL offering from the Amazon. Elasticache is for the Memcache offering of Amazon. RDS is a completely managed database from Amazon. It offers the MySQL, MS SQL, and Oracle as of now. Redshift is for the data warehousing, which uses the data pipeline, as well as it can use the S3 and all that. In the cross service, the app service part, these are some of the past kind of offering Amazon has started, like cloud search is a completely managed search. You can use the simple email service or simple notification service, simple queuing service for the queuing part, the email part for the sending of millions of mails. And for that also Amazon provides the support. Again, not everything is free. Something is paid, something is free. Marketplace is kind of a Google app, the Apple App Store kind of a scenario, where you can buy something from Amazon and it will be charged on a pay-as-you-go model. The management console is where I'll be showing you. You will be able to access all Amazon products from there, and Amazon do provide the SDKs and IDs for that. I'll show that also. Out of these, we will try to cover this many options. So we'll cover the S3S, CBS, CloudFront, Gracious, Import Export, EZ2, ELB, Autoscaling, CloudWatch, Elastic Beanstalk, IAM, the RDS, a little overview on SCS and NSN, so I'm not marking, just overview on that. So this marked topics we'll try to cover in a little more depth, and then SCS and SNS will try to get a little overview also about that. So this is all about what we are going to cover in our session also. So you'll able to learn most of the things, and once you are very used to with this, I'm sure you'll be much more familiar with Amazon, and you can work with the Amazon's flawlessly. Going ahead, how do you access the Amazon? So Amazon provides the 4 ways to access the Amazon. First is the Amazon Management Console, which I'll show now. That's a GUI console available, and you can access all the products from there. Then Amazon also provides a lot of APIs to access from that. So they provide the REST and kind of SOAP kind of APIs where you can access Amazon over there. Amazon also provides the command line interface where you can run install some of the command line tools, and you can use the Amazon from that also. And Amazon has the SDKs also, software development kits for the Java, PHP, .NET, those kind of offering also available. So you can use any of these to access the Amazon. At the end, you will be using some Amazon service or Amazon product using 4 out of 1. In our course curriculum, what we are going to cover, so this is the topics we are going to cover would be we have categories in the 6 modules. Each module is of 3 hours. So in first module, it would be more like what we are going to cover and the overview of cloud computing. I covered a little bit here, but it will be a little more advanced. Same ways for the Amazon. I tried to cover a little bit about Amazon today, but we'll be giving more overview on our course. Then what is Amazon EC2 and hands-on with the Amazon EC2 and Amazon console. So that would be our module 1. In module 2, it will be the persistence data storage EPS and the simple storage services, and how do you create the AMIs, backup, restore, S3, everything with Amazon. So how can you achieve the data backup and data restoration with Amazon? That would be in the module 2. In the module 3, it will be all Amazon scaling services. So elastic load balancer, auto scaling, and CloudWatch. How do you, the complete overview, the hands-on guide, the demo, everything would be part of the module 3. And that I'm sure would be very interesting section. You will definitely enjoy that. In module 3 and 4, it would be more like about Amazon databases, that what are the Amazon databases, and then the Amazon demo of the RDS, how to use the data RDS. Also demo of the cloud front end RDS also available over there. In the top, module 5, it will be overview of the IAM, how can you use the identification and access management, plus demo of that, and then we'll briefly touch upon the Elastic Beanstalk, the cloud formation, simple notification service, simple email service, and the key topic starts after that. So that would be like your architecture level course I was talking about, where AWS calculator, how do you calculate the cost of your Amazon? How can you how do you predict your cost? If you want to host, how can you do that? That's I'll show you demo and how to do. A very important aspect about Amazon account overview and Amazon consolidated billing concept. Then there would be Amazon backup and DR setup, where how can you do a backup with Amazon and how do you set up the DR and the archive and retrieval? How do you set up the high availability scenario with Amazon? So those kind of a case you will see. Amazon best practices for the cost optimization, the design and the security. So those all would be covered in the module 6. And at the end, it would be more like a question and answer review. Even every day we would have a question and answer. And at the end of every module, you will get some hands-on. You will be assigned some kind of homework, so you can do hands-on at your home, and then come back to us with your questions, queries, or how you feel about that. So this is the complete overview about the course, what you are going to learn in Amazon Web Services. I'll now go to the demo. I'll show you the what is the power of Amazon, what you can do it. I was talking to you about that, how with the Amazon, you can develop that any application very quickly. So now I'm going to share. So these are the Amazon console. You can see over here. These are Amazon Web Services. These are the Amazon consoles. And as I said, we will be covering EC2. We will be covering the CloudFront, the Glacier S3. We will be covering the RDS part. We will be covering the EBS and the S3. Overview about the SCS, the Elastic Beanstalk IAM. Those are the things we'll definitely covering. And I'll definitely give overview about each and every product in detail in my module number 1. So you will come to know about each and every product, what is it doing in little more detail. Again, we'll go in a much detail in every module, but about overview of each product in our lecture 1, you'll get that. Now going with the, I'll try to see here, show a demo where I'll be hosting one application on Amazon, and we'll see how it works. So I'm going to EC2. EC2 is an Elastic Compute Cloud from Amazon, where you can host any application on that. So these are the regions you can see. So I talk about 7 regions, 8 regions available over there. So yeah, 3 in US, 4, 7. Sorry, I forgot. There were 8 regions for that. So Sydney is also there. So I'm going to US East region, and there is a 9th region that is a government cloud. So what we'll be doing is we'll be launching a instance. Instance is nothing but a virtual server available to you. So I go with the launch instance. So this is the wizard where it will allow you to launch an instance. So I'll be selecting a AMI. AMI again I'll cover in my session what is AMI. But AMI is like your ghost image, something it's available a set of operating system, the storage and everything available to you over there. It's some predefined software also. So I'll go with that. I'll taking the micro instance, which is the lowest instance over there. again, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. In this course, whatever the hands-on training which we are going to cover, we'll also try to cover Amazon provides a free services. So some of the services are absolutely free. Absolutely free means for a 1 year. So you will not be charged for that. Yeah, you need Amazon account for that, but even if you use that service, you will not be charged for that. And we will try to structure your course again that you will be using most of the free service only. So you don't have to pay for the Amazon services cost part, but at the same time you can learn, you can do all the hands-on training also. So I'll be selecting a micro instance. Micro instance is one of the size of that. So you can see this micro instance would have a 613 MB RAM. There would be a small instance which will be a 2 GB kind of, medium will be a 4 GB. There would be high storage, 8 extra large instance will be have a 117 GB RAM instance. So one virtual server with the 117 GB RAM, and then you can add multiple in a cluster. You can make that. There would be a availability zone also. I was talking about these other availability zones. I'll continue. So this is the kernel ID and RAM disk ID. That's the Amazon thing. We'll be covering a little bit about in our session also. IAM role also we'll cover in our session. I'll allow them to load the default values. Okay, I'm going with the default values also. This is my EBS Elastic Block Storage configuration. Currently, whatever the virtual server I'm using, it will be having a 8 GB size. So this is just name I am giving. This is the key pair. Again, I'll show you. This is a kind of a security mechanism. So I'm using the one which I have in existence. So this is my edureka demo and existing I'm using over here. I'll be using this security group. Security group is nothing but a virtual firewall kind of a scenario provided by Amazon. I'm using that. So we'll cover everything, security group, security keys, everything in our modules. So we have launched a virtual server. So this is it launching, virtual server, it is launching right now. This is my putty. This is for my telnet client which I am using to connect to my virtual server. I'm connecting using the key which I have generated. I'll just verify. I've used edureka training. Sorry, key pair name was edureka demo. So I'll be using the edureka demo as my key, and the IP I'm using is my IP which I have with this public DNS provided by Amazon. You'll see the console now. So this is my virtual server available to me, and I can do anything over there. I have the admin rights over there, so I can do. I'll be now hosting Apache, installing the Apache over here, and then hosting a website over there. So this is the command I'm running to install the Apache. This is the command to start the Apache. Sorry, I typed twice. Okay, my Apache started. Now I'm creating a website. My mouse is a little sensitive, sorry. So now we have installed the Apache in my server. We have also installed created our index.html file, so which will be able to, I will be able to see that. Now I'm showing my browser. So using the same public DNS where we have hosted our application, I'm going there. See, this is my application hosted. So you see that I have created index.html. I have deployed the application on a my server, the Apache I've installed, and then my application is ready. See, now you see the power of the cloud computing available to you on demand, immediately available to me. I can deploy anything over there pretty fast. And that's why it's very important for us to use the cloud computing. So this completes my session for the day.